Hi there, it's Polly here in the great outdoors. Yeah, so look, I wanted to talk to you, amongst other things, this game, Chin. This is a role-playing game that is set in a fantasy version of ancient China. Yes, it does that kind of crouching tiger, hidden dragon sort of martial arts fantasy. However, if you were a fan of things like monkey magic and so on, it's also very, very much in that realm. It does a very, very good job of bringing to life a fantasy China. It's a really good game and it's not as well known as it should be. So, Chin. They've chosen for the setting around about sort of the 470 BC sort of period. So what this is a time of warring states in China, when China is split into lots of little competing princedoms and duchies, and kind of the bad guy is Qin. That is the state that will actually historically end up dominating things, run by a total absolute psychopath. This is the emperor that ends up buried with the terracotta warriors. So not a good person. So there is some intrigue levels in the higher level politics. But in any case, what we have with Qin is a beautiful simulation of the culture and also of the sort of tropes you've come to expect from Chinese fantasy stories. We have, the martial arts and the fabulous stuff. So, character generation. What I like about character generation in this is that it's actually subtly quite nuanced. So you have characteristics that have quite low numerical ratings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of thing. You've got a budget of points to split up, and they go into, wisdom and perception and these sorts of things. How it expresses your characteristics is in your elements. You're getting water element, you're getting fire element, earth. These express themselves both as physical things, so fire is speed and swiftness of movement, but it's also a personality thing. For someone who's got quite high fire has, kind of a bit of a furious personality. They're quick, they're passionate. So it's not just a physical, it's a mental and spiritual thing that you build. However, if you decide I want to be the ultimate martial artist and just go completely nuts on speed, and I'm going to do dump stats and so on, you might be in trouble. Because figured values, like your actual hit points and so on, they work better if you are balanced. The closer your values are together, the higher the value of the actual figured characteristic. If you've got an incredibly high dexterity and you've got very low kind of spiritual characteristics and so on, this can actually drag you down. So if you're mini-maxing, you've also got to see you've kind of got to maximize your balance. Everything must be in balance. It's fantastic. Now, there's a lot of aspects that you can choose for the character. Some of these are little kind of bonuses and positive things that you can get. There's a lot of kind of negative aspects you can get, and story building aspects. When you design a character, you can design what kind of life your character is going into. You can be a warrior. There are many different types. You could be a soldier, you could be a wandering kind of knight errant, you can be bodyguards, you could be thugs, you could be like a Shaolin kind of, or not Shaolin monk at this stage, but you could be like a monk specialist and these sorts of things. You can be a scholar, a wandering scholar, the kind of Taoist Confucianist person wandering around attempting to advise the great heads of state. You can be mystics, thieves, rogues, all these sorts of things are in here. Many, 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 many variants, and you can customize yourself. So, other things that you get to design your character is you may learn taoists. These are special techniques. Ordinary human beings kind of don't get them. You guys are sort of higher up on the scale. Now, these taoists, there are a great many of them. And they are the ability to kind of channel extra abilities into things. There are taoists that are very useful for magical stuff. There are taoists that are very useful for combat. There are taoists that are very useful for being in touch with nature and the wilderness, for exploring, for gaining insight into people. This is kind of an extra layer over and above most RPG systems. It's like having almost like a separate magic system that isn't magical. And again, your ability to tap into these things often comes off your character balance. There is also an incredibly extensive magic system, and everything is expressed in beautiful Chinese terms. They've gone through, and all the taoist magic that you would expect to find is in there. For those monkey magic fans out there, this really is like going through monkey magic. It's like, yes, whoosh, cloud flying, changing into bees and wasps so you can spy on people, changing shape, changing form, all these sorts of things are in there. There is also a line of Taoist alchemy as another branch, which can also be important, and people that specialise in trying to come up with elixirs and potions and so on, which do things. So there are all these different things that you can follow. There's also like a demi-magical mystic path where you are essentially channeling supernatural powers into yourself in a martial arts kind of fashion. Crouching tiger, within a dragon, that kind of thing. You're having a good time walking a more mystical fighter path. Now, this game has a beautiful game mechanic that I really love. It's run off 2d10, and you're rolling, and you roll your dice, you add your characteristics, you add your skill number and so on, and you're going to try and get past a difficulty number. But because the tower is found in balance, if you roll the dice and they come up matching numbers, then things are in balance. These are basically your criticals, your critical hits, and this gets you the extra successes and the extra amazing triggers, and there's a whole list of extra powers that flow on from this. So I really like this sort of like, yes, you are looking for the dice to be in balance. Really interesting game. Now, because of that whole setting that it's in, there is kind of a flavour from that period where people actually do meet kings and dukes, and you've got scholars who'll try and like convince them to become more worthy kings and so on, or you might end up running a state or being a general and so on. There is a military system in this. There is actually a expanded military system, Art of War, where these have got rules for running duchies and kingdoms, and for running battles and sieges and spying and gaining intelligence, and it's quite an extensive military system, all of that Sun Tzu Art of War at its heart. So this game gives you some really interesting storytelling tools to tell really good Chinese mysticism, magic, adventure, martial arts stories. A really, really good piece of work. It's excellent, it truly is. It would be my game of choice for running anything of that kind. Now, bear in mind that a lot of the Chinese stuff that you will see, like, these kind of feng shui kind of martial arty things, those are very, very 18th, 19th, 20th century. So this is earlier. So there's armor in this, sword, shields, chariots. It is a more heroic age Greece level kind of technology and so on. So a lot of the wacky martial arts weapons that you're used to seeing aren't around, but classic stuff from Chinese legend. These beautiful watercolor illustrations you'll see of sort of sword wielding masters, of mighty warriors and mighty generals. That's this period. So look, give it a look. Qing, the Warring States, truly an excellent piece of work, and absolutely a top-notch choice if you're wanting to do legendary Chinese fantasy as a role-playing game campaign. Give it a shot. Cheers everyone. If you like the videos, like, subscribe, and catch me on Patreon. Cheers. different. Oh, Christ almighty. Seriously, there's snakes down those parts. Go down those ones. Yeah, get bitten. Anyway.